I'm Pops, and I'm going to talk about the movie Tar. That's right. The Cate Blanchett film is going to get a lot of buzz at Oscar time. It's going to win a lot of awards. I'm going to talk to you about the film, what you really can expect. Because here's the thing: do you want to watch a movie? By the way, spoilers, lots of spoilers. We're just doing this, right? So if you don't want spoilers, then another review for you. Do you want to watch a movie about an arrogant, narcissistic lesbian composer who abuses other women? I mean, well, what if I tell you the script is really good? Cate Blanchett is amazing. Possibly, if not, it's one of the best performances of her career. And it has a 10-minute single shot standalone scene that is so good, they'll study this in film schools. Like, that's literally my selling. This is not a biography, despite the way the story is told, the way it sort of unfolds, but it feels like it is because you are immersed into the world of being a conductor in front of the orchestra and the New York and Berlin and all of this sort of like scene, right? The film is unorthodox on nearly every level. In fact, the credits are 5 minutes long because they do the end credits first, right? And then it cuts right into an interview with an actual reporter. He's an actual journalist, and he's doing a review with this this fictional character. So it's basically Lydia Tár's biography. And it's kind of like an actor studio, PBS type interview on like a New York stage conversation. So yeah, everything starts out in a way that sets the stage that she's a real person. And she sells it with an intensity through this whole film. It never stops. It is a crazy journey. And it is just that. It's a crazy journey. She's famous, wealthy. She's the first female Berlin Philharmonic conductor. She's also not the traditional woke third wave feminist that you would see, even though they drop little lines and from a Kavanaugh line to referring to Lenny Bernstein, and they drop all of this fancy vocabulary about music and composition and stuff like that, right? And you get things that move relatively quickly in some ways, but it's also like a lot of tedious conversational stuff because this is not a film for like mass consumption. Like, it's not. It's just a heavy dialogue driven, cinematography driven film full of exposition and commentary. It's good in a lot of ways. It's great, but it's also not a film that I'm going to be rewatching. But let's get to this scene, this lecture scene, right? Because she's teaching at Juilliard, and this has gone viral, right? Because she's talking with these students, and she's trying to inspire this kid named Max, and he's done his musical piece, and he's just not good. It's crap. And then she starts talking about Bach, and he starts making a comment about, well, he's just a misogynist white guy. And as a BIPOC, pansexual, blah, 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 it's impossible to take his music seriously or something. That's pretty much how it goes down, right? And she basically just comes claws out and jumps on him, right? This is the clip that's gone crazy. And it seems like this film is set to be an anti-cancel culture film. But it's more complicated than that, right? Because she makes a comment about, I'm a U-Haul lesbian, and she talks about Beethoven, and he's a white guy, blah, blah, blah. But she says things, but she contrasts that with, don't be so eager to be offended. Like, she points out that her beliefs is like the art and the artist need to be separate from one another, because at some point, how do you want to be judged? It's really, really good. In this scene, they give him, like, Max has like a twitchy, nervous leg that culminates with her putting her hand on a leg to stop him from doing it. It is so good. The way it moves around and it puts them on different levels and different shots. It's all one take. Truly, it's truly cinematographer with genius. It really, really is. So, anyway, it is really interesting of how all this plays out. And of course, Max just storms out. He's a stubborn lefty. He can't handle it, right? Now you have like a whole world of characters that center around Lydia Tár, right? She has a sick wife named Sharon. They have an adopted daughter. She has an assistant named Francesca, right? And it takes an hour before we actually see her doing any conducting. That's how slow this movie. The movie's very long. It takes a long road to get where it kind of wants to go. And it centers around this backstory of this former sort of love interest named Krista. And Krista's kind of gone off the deep end. There's emails that have been exchanged. And long story, a little bit shorter, is that Lydia did her best to ruin Krista's career. And I assume it's because of the breakup and things like that. So I'll put that on the shelf for him, put a pin in that for a moment. And Lydia's working on this project of a lifetime type of thing. And there's all sorts of little like orchestra drama, right? We got to replace the assistant conductor. I mean, all that ends up doing is upsetting Francesca because she's kind of like the current girlfriend. She thinks she's next in line, right? But once Krista's suicide goes public, it creates chaos for everyone, right? Because what Francesca does is she leaks all of this stuff, right? She's vindictive. Like Tár gets caught completely off guard by the fact that Francesca would do this and leak all this out. So now all of the dirty laundry comes out. She's a womanizer. She's involved with sexual favors to these other artists. There's a whole subplot with a character named Olga. She changes a score so that she gets Olga into like the chair on gets her added as a cello because she sees her in the bathroom. She knows it's her, that kind of thing, right? So she's all about this sort of casting couch stuff that Hollywood and Me Too and all of that has said and fought up against. And here, and I have to give Todd Field a little bit of credit because he turns it on its head and saying, yeah, but what if you have that situation and it's a lesbian conductor in an orchestra who is very far left with their approach to life, as far as artists and things like that, right? But the film is really not as much to me, a commentary on cancel culture as much as it is a commentary on hierarchy. It's more of a commentary about power because, to be honest, Tár is a monster. She's obviously been abusing people, taking advantage of people. She treats Sharon like crap because Karen's got some sort of illness, but she's obviously been cheating with all these other women all along. Like, I don't understand. Like, how does Sharon, I don't know how Sharon was so oblivious to so much of this, but that ultimately comes to a head. It appears as though Tár cares about the daughter. And that's heart-wrenching because basically once it all goes public and the world turns on her, there's like protests at like a book signing and her world unravels super, super fast and she snaps. She comes completely unglued. She starts with a typical, it's all hogwash to fake apology type approach to whatever. And then she becomes like an enraged, crazed lunatic who ultimately attacks the replacement conductor doing her work. Like the whole movie sets around this rehearsal, this practice for this event. And then, of course, her world is taken, everything's ripped away from her. She's been canceled. She attacks this dude. She starts punching him and kicking him. She basically assaults him in front of everybody. It's completely insane, right? But to get to that point, it's like over 2 hours long. It's probably closer to 2.5 hours long. It's like, oh my God, it's such a long journey. I want to understand more of the world. It's just like, I'm not invested in it enough that it like got me. Cate Blanchett got me. Cate Blanchett's performance, she's so believable with these emotional swings and the gravitas is there. She's so believable. She lives and breathes Lydia Tár. It's truly a spectacular performance. And the one scene, like I said, that lecture scene at Juilliard is just a magnificent piece. But is that enough to make it something you should watch? I spelled it out for you the best I can. Will it be nominated for a bunch of stuff? I don't think the screenplay is as good as some people think it is. I don't think the direction is necessarily as good, but I don't know Todd Field and the role with him and Cate Blanchett and some of the shot. I don't know what his role is versus the cinematography. Like, I don't know where the line's drawn, but the end result is it's beautiful and some shots are amazing. Is it a great film? Sure. I would never watch it again though. So it's a problem. Like it can't be like a 10. It's not even a 9 for me. I'm like, I really wouldn't watch it again. It's like one of those films. Like I saw it. It's good. It's fine. I get why it's being nominated, but it's not going to be for everybody. Who wants to watch this? they're spending a ton of money on marketing. They've jacked the budget up to like $35 million, which I think is absurd. But it's probably because they're just trying to do all these award show promotions and things like that too, to try to make some money, to keep putting money into it, to keep jerking money out, because it's going to drop on streaming now soon. So that'll put the end of that. So anyway, maybe you guys disagree, or you love it, or you hate it, whatever. You tell me what you guys think. I don't know exactly how to describe a film that's kind of like this, sort of out of the box specific. Like, it's a very specific type of film that I'm not sure everyone can connect to, even though its execution is really, really good. So anyway, that's my take on it. Tell me what you guys think. I'm Pop.